Take it easy, would you? Oh, oops.
Oh, welcome to the Developmental Disabilities Division Training on Transitions.
Let's start by reviewing who you need to contact if there is a transition in the future. If the participant or guardian is looking at changing habilitation providers, the process would start with the ISC. But whether the participant is moving to another town or wanting a different ISC or changing waivers, the process begins with the ARS.
Before we get too involved in this, there are some tools you will need: a notice to change form and a transition checklist. There are 4 primary types of transitions. Change in ISC. It is expected that this type of transition will occur at the 6th month in the annual. This can occur if the participant is moved to a different town. Change in location. Moving from one town to another, moving from a group home to an apartment, moving to a different group home. These are all considered changes in location.
Another type of transition is change in habilitation providers. This is where a participant decides that they may want to try a different special family home provider, day hab provider, residential habilitation provider, pre-vocational habilitation provider, or support employment provider. Another transition is a change in waiver. This is when somebody is moving from one waiver to another. An example might be a child has turned 21 and is going on either the adult or the acquired brain injury waiver. Just remember that if there are going to be any of these changes, to notify the current ISC immediately of your intention.
That's a good point. What do you say we review everybody's responsibilities during the process of a transition?
That's a great idea. The main people involved in a transition are participant and or the guardian, the ISC and providers, and the ARS.
The ARS is responsible for following when changing ISCs. When contacted by a participant and or guardian, the ARS will request the plan of care date to see if the change is at the annual or the 6-month review. The ARS will review the transition process with the participant and or guardian and answer any questions. Next, the ARS will provide the participant and or guardian with a transition checklist, current provider list, and the notice to change ISC form, and inform them that in order to start the process, they must notify their current ISC within 2 business days. The transition checklist is initiated by the ARS, who will update the checklist once the ISC selection form is received, and send copies of the checklist and ISC form to current and new ISC.
Both the current and the new ISC have responsibilities in the process of changing an ISC. The new ISC will obtain a release of information. Once this is received, the current ISC needs to send the participants information, which would be the plan of care, any assessments, including the psychological and ICAP, along with a summary of health and safety issues, progress on any objectives, and any incident reports to the newly chosen ISC. The current ISC will schedule the transition meeting with the team. This includes the new ISC. The current ISC will provide the team with at least 2 weeks notification of the meeting. At the transition meeting, the current ISC will review the transition checklist information thoroughly with the team. The current ISC will submit the modification or plan, then route the signed pre-approval to all providers.
The participant and or guardian have a responsibility in the process as well. They need to contact ARS if they wish to change their ISC. They may be asked to wait until the 6-month or annual meeting. When changing ISCs, the participant and or guardian need to contact their current ISC and let them know they want to change. It is the participants' and guardians' responsibilities to complete the notice of change ISC form. They must work with the ISC to schedule a transition meeting and attend to provide their input.
No wonder it takes planning and careful handling when changing an ISC. The ARS The ISC's and the participant and guardian's responsibility when a participant wants to relocate in Wyoming are pretty similar to changing an ISC. If a participant or guardian contacts the ARS to relocate, the ARS will review the process, send provider lists for location desired, inform the waiver manager and specialist, then initiate the checklist. The ARS will also notify the ARS in the new location, so all that need to be involved in the transition are notified. The current ISC will then share information with the new team once release is received. They'll schedule the transition meeting, they'll review the transition checklist, they'll update the plan and submit modification or new plan information, and then distribute the pre-approval. Providers in new location, including the new ISC, are to obtain releases, attend the transition meeting with information needed to update the plan of care, and begin services when the pre-approval is received. The participant and or guardian need to choose the new providers. They need to complete any forms needed and work with the ISC to schedule a transition meeting and attend to provide their input.
Boy, transitions are a lot of work. But you wouldn't want to transition and not have your favorite Hawaiian baseball cap. When you needed it, who knows what would happen?
That'd be awful.
Yeah. Well, let's get on with it and review responsibilities when changing habilitation services.
What services?
Habilitation services. These are services such as day habilitation, residential habilitation, in-home support, rehab trainer. The ARS has it pretty easy for this one. The ARS reviews the process with the ISC, notifies the waiver manager and specialist, and then attends the meeting. Piece of cake.
Let's take a look at what the ISC is responsible for when changing habilitation services. The ISC is to contact the ARS within 5 business days of the participant requesting a change. Then the ISC needs to review the transition process and provider list with the participant and or guardian. When the participant and or guardian has made a choice, the ISC then notifies the ARS of the choice. The ISC will prepare a summary of information as mentioned before. They will schedule the meeting with team to include current and new providers. They will obtain releases to share information with new providers. They will review the transition checklist during the meeting. They'll submit the modification and then distribute the signed pre-approval to all providers.
For this type of change, participant and or guardian's responsibilities don't change much. They need to let their ISC know what they want to change. They need to choose new providers, work with the ISC to schedule a transition meeting, and attend to provide their input.
Now, what happens if the participant is a kid who's 20 years and 6 months old?
The ISC should prompt the family that the process starts with the ARS. The participant and or the guardian have the responsibility of contacting the ARS when they will be transitioning from the child waiver to either the adult waiver or the acquired brain injury waiver.
And then the ARS would meet with the family to review the different services on the new waiver they are applying for. The ARS would assist as needed in completing the application. The ARS would provide a list of ISC providers in the area and notice to change ISC's form. The participant and or guardian is responsible for contacting and choosing the ISC. Then the paperwork goes back to the ARS to be processed.
The participant and or guardian then waits to receive a funding letter, which usually is mailed out prior to the participant turning 21. The chosen ISC will schedule the meeting with the team to include current and new providers, obtain releases to share information with the new providers, review the transition checklist during the meeting, develop the new plan of care, and then distribute the signed pre-approval to the providers.
There sure is a lot of responsibility when transitioning.
There sure is. And there's one more.
More?
Yeah, but it's pretty simple. It is everyone's responsibility to follow the rules of transitioning. They can be found in Section 11 of the Child, Adult, and Acquired Brain Injury Rules, and also Section 32 of the Certification Rules. And of course, when in doubt, contact the ARS.
That ARS is a pretty important person.
Not really. They just want to make sure that when a participant transitions, it goes smoothly. And not like our move. Guess we're out of here. I hear Delreen needs a lot of help moving.
All
Let's
right.
go.